Limerick Today with Joe Nash on Limerick's Live 95 FM.
Now, Huntington's disease, it's a degenerative condition affecting more than 750 people across the country, with up to 3,000 being at risk of developing it. The symptoms, which include slurred speech and cognitive impairment, worsen over the course of the disease. But now a new landmark trial has suggested an experimental drug could begin to slow the progression of the illness. Limerick woman Anne O'Shea Clarke, who's spoken to us on the show before, lost her husband Christy to the disease last year, and she's on the line again this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Joe.
Just remind us a little of Christy's journey and obviously a very difficult time for him and for you.
I met Christy back in 2001 in Cyprus, and I moved up after a year. A year later we went back and we got engaged, and I made a move to Dublin, and everything looked really good, for the future. And unfortunately, after another year, by 2003, Christy started to show some early symptoms of the condition. He did know it was in the family. His father, we were lucky that that we didn't have to go down the road of, not knowing what was wrong. And some people find it very difficult to get diagnosed. But with Christy, we were aware that it was in the family, so they were able to do the testing. And unfortunately, he had it was the early symptoms, and he tested positive for Huntington's. So his first signs would have been the slurred speech, the poor balance, tremor of the hands, and it is a very slow progression over many years. It can take 15 to 20 years for some people. And there's many different signs of Huntington's, like it can be cognitive or, physical, and it can be, can be similar to schizophrenia as well. So you have many different forms of Huntington's.
And what was it like in Christy's case?
With Christy, it was physical. Purely physical. His brain, up until the very end, Christy kept his brain was just 100%. He was so sharp, unbelievably sharp, but it was kind of like a lock-in syndrome. His body, over the years, he lost his independence, his ability to use his hands, his walk. His speech was very slurred. He would still communicate in his own way, and we would find ways of communicating with Christy. And I have to say, he always managed to get what he wanted. Up until the end, he was still looking for things like getting tattoos, and he got his ear pierced, and he managed to get what he wanted across. I think in the end he decided, he was going to prove that he could still do what he wanted to do, and he wasn't going to let this get the better of him in a way.
Yeah. And what about treatment for him?
Treatment, we knew there was no cure. We tried many different forms of, acupuncture. We tried, nothing. There was no cure at the time. In all of Chris's life, there was no cure. And we had been, the Huntington's Disease Association are fantastic in bringing everyone together and giving us seminars and bringing over specialist people from different countries, a lot from England or anywhere, to give us up-to-date information on what is on the pipeline. And there have been many different discussions, but up until Monday, there was nothing coming across, or, nothing seemed to be going the whole way. But Monday was just like an absolute miracle to get this news. It's the most exciting. Unfortunately for us, it was just, too late. Sorry.
I know, very difficult for you. But
Sorry.
This new. Oh, actually, just one other question: is it more prevalent in Ireland, Huntington's?
It's more prevalent than what we know, because in Ireland we have no live register. Okay, we don't have any specialist hospital. We don't have any. We say other countries up in the north, they have a specialist nurse. There's 6 counties and they have a specialist nurse. In the rest of the 20 counties in Ireland, we don't have anything. We have one office in North Burning Street, the Huntington Association. They're fantastic, but they're so limited. They're trying to cover all of Ireland. And there's so many people out there suffering from this condition, and it impacts on a whole family. It's not just one person gets the diagnosis and all. The impact it has on the family is just unbelievable. It's devastating, because you now know that if there's children in the family, there is a 50-50 chance that every child that's born that they may also they may also have the condition. And it impacts on brothers and sisters, all siblings, and then, it has come from a parent as well. So it impacts on the whole family tree.
What about this trial then?
Well, this has been, we had a seminar back in May of last year, and we had a Dr. Ed Wild over, and he gave us a very fantastic seminar on the details of this drug that they had trialled, and they were coming to the end of the trial, and it was all seeming very positive, but at the same time, they had to wait until the trial date was up. It was announced on Monday that the first human trial of human lowering drug, it's called Ionis HTTRX, but its short will be ASO. It lowers the Huntington protein in the nervous system, and it's like after these 2 years, they can now say it's safe, it's tolerated, and not only that, but it also reduces the Huntington protein, which is what they needed to see. Nice. So it is successful, and that's something we've never had. This news is honestly, it's like the best Christmas present ever that anyone could get. Just families out there who, their whole lives have been taken over with Huntington's, and I mean, only this morning. And I don't like giving other people's news, these details away, but a lady whose husband had Huntington's passed away this morning, but she's got twin daughters who also have Huntington's. And, for her, this was also such an exciting time, even though, it's still very early days. I mean, they're now moving on to the next step of the trial. But to get this far is just, it's a miracle. It really, really is.
What age was your husband, Christy, when he passed away?
He was 46. He had the condition 15 years. And it slowly just took him over in his body. In his mind, it didn't. And he fought it to the bitter end. He really did. It's just, you go through so many stages, so many dark times, and it's such a struggle. And the worst thing is, what's ahead. You know what lies ahead, and having seen it before because his father would have had it. So when you know this is in your family, and there's 50-50 chance, and then you start to show the signs, you're going through it all over again. And there's people out there who have watched their husbands or wives, and they're now looking at their children. They're waiting to wait until they're 18 to be tested. And up to now, there has never been, the hope has been just so low. But since Monday, this has just given so much to look forward to. The only problem we have here in Ireland is, well, it's a huge problem. We don't have to even be part of the next trial stage. Like the next trial stage are going to involve a lot more people. They're going to be from America and Europe. And to even be considered as a country to be part of that trial, they need to have a specialist nurse, which we don't have. And they also need a neurology HD clinic, which we don't have.
Right. Okay.
So, we're not even going to be considered.
I know that's difficult, but as you say, some hope at the same time. Well, thank you very much to Anne O'Shea Clarke, who's a Limerick woman, for telling us about Christy, but also this possible breakthrough this week that could make such a difference to people suffering with Huntington's and their families.